Hi there, my name's Cathi Barker from Software Solutions, and you're looking at one of a collection of videos that accompanies my Microsoft Excel Level 3 Data Manipulation course. What I now would like to take you through is the topic of named ranges. Okay, for this, using the Excel 3 file that we acquired with the Excel 3 course and saving it as Excel 3-1, I now want to look at the sheet called Targets. And so I'm taking you back to here. Now, when you refer to a cell like actual, you refer to it by its address, and that is H1, the column and the row that it's sitting in. When you select a range, and I'm going to go Control A, then we refer to that range as A1 to H271. So we refer to cells and ranges by their column and row coordinates, cell addresses. I want to give you an alternative. I'm going to press Control Home to get back to the top. I'm going to click on H1 and I want to give H1 a name. So now I'm using this option here. To the left of the formula bar has always been a box called the name box, and it tells you the name of the cell you're sitting in, H1. But if we click that H1 and we type actual and we press enter, we have now named that cell actual. Now you have to press enter or it doesn't take you seriously. When you press enter, your expectation should be that you see the word actual sitting in the name box. If the word actual is not sitting in the name box, then something has gone wrong. So we've named this cell. Let's name another cell. If I take you to the sheet called database and I take you to the cell F1, the cell address F1 appears in the name box. Click in the name box and call it area treated. Now, when it comes to names, you're not allowed spaces. You could have an underscore, but I just tend to use a capital A and a capital T, no spaces, and I've named it area treated. Got to press enter or it doesn't take you seriously. So now you've named two things using the name box. Now the name box has got a drop down. So if you hit the drop down, alphabetically it gives you all the things you've named. So if I choose actual, I get taken to the sheet called targets and I get taken to the cell H1 because that's been named actual. If I hit the drop down and I choose area treated, I get taken to the sheet called database and I get taken to the cell F1 because that's what I've called area treated. Now, naming cells is one thing, but you can also name ranges. I would like to name this entire list that we have in database. Now, most of us use Control A to select all the data we're sitting in. Let me demonstrate. And if I go Control Home, it goes back to the top. Click Control Home. Some of us will drag across and drag down, but if you're working with large lists, that becomes quite tedious quite quickly. So try to use Control A if you're selecting all the data you're sitting in. So you've got to be sitting in the data and it selects all the data around that cell until it hits a blank column and it hits a blank row. Okay. But Control A is a relatively new kid on the block. Control A came out in 2007, and prior to 2007, we had a different key combination that allowed us to select all the data. So I want you to be aware of that too if you're going to go down the road of macros, which we will be doing shortly in these videos. On the number pad, if you've got one, on the right hand side of your keyboard is a star or an asterisk. So I go Control and I press the star on my number pad. And that's another way of selecting all the data. And that's the OG. That was the original way we used to do it until Control A came out. And if you're doing macros, that's the better way to select all the data. If you don't have a number pad out the right hand side of your keyboard, you're going to have to hold Control Shift and then press the 8. Because the star is above the character 8 on your keyboard. Okay, so I've selected all the data through whatever method. My name box says A1, so I click there, and I want to call this forest list. I'm not allowed spaces, so I have to make it one word, and I have to press enter, it doesn't take me seriously. And my expectation is when I press enter, I see the word forest list. So forest list is now applied to the entire range. So I won't see the word forest list if I click on a specific cell, because no specific cell is named forest list. But if I go Control Star, the entire range is called forest list, so therefore the name appears. If I hit the drop down and I go to actual, I should be taken to H1 in targets. If I go to area treated, I should be taken to F1 in database. And if I go to forest list, I should select the entire range in the sheet called database. Let's name another range. I'm going to go back to the sheet called targets. I'm going to click on A1 and I'm going to press Control Star to select the entire range. I want to name this range target list. So I click on A1 in the name box and I call it target or targets? Target list. And when I press enter, it takes it. So now I've named 4 things: actual, area treated, forest list, target list, and just double check that everything is correct, because these videos all flow on, so we've got to have things right from the beginning. Actual must refer to H1 in targets. Area treated must refer to F1 in database, and forest list must refer to the entire range in database, and target list must refer to the entire range in targets. So the name box is used to create and navigate to named ranges. You may be wondering about targets table. That was in the earlier video. Targets table was the name we gave to this table, this list that we formatted as a table in video 1, video 2 actually. So have a look at that. Okay. But things change, and so sometimes we need to delete a named range, or we need to check what it refers to, or we need to update it. So if you want to manage your named ranges, you literally go to the Formulas tab in the ribbon. The Formulas tab has got a button called Name Manager, and if you click the Name Manager, it will show you all the things that have been named. Actual refers to targets H1. Area treated refers to database F1. And you can click in here and you can edit it and hit the tick and you'll have updated the named range. You can also click in here like forest list and you can delete it. You can delete a named range. So that's an option as well. So anything to do with deleting a named range and then use the name box to recreate it if you're having issues. But I'm just going to go close. That's the topic of named ranges. We are about to look in the next video at advanced filtering. Named ranges make complex topics like advanced filtering and database functions, the next video, really easy. So they simplify complex topics in the case of the next video, advanced filtering. So do come back, do have a look, and I'll show you how that works. Please like or subscribe. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you on the next video, advanced filtering.